Hey, this is Mr. Brewer from the Academy at Shawnee, and I'll be walking you through my project-based learning unit. This is a year-long unit that has four big checkpoints in it. It is titled A Dream Still Deferred. I do teach A2C Junior English. My problem statement is that it is the year 2020 and America is reckoning with a divided interpretation of the American dream that either feeds off of oppressive structures or is a story of fighting oppression. This is exemplified in the debate between Baldwin and Buckley that we're going to watch as a class. There is more info in the slide deck, and you can read a full transcript in the slide deck as well. So my project idea is that we're going to be producing an audio novella, which is something that we can do through NTI that I believe will have value for students. That novella is going to be in large part dictated by the A2C component of the class, which I do not have control over, but I do have a lot of control over how they get to the four anchor essays that they have to complete for that A2C. So they're going to be creating a novella with many voices, exploring one of four themes in response to this focusing unit on the American dream. So the four themes they're going to be potentially recording on are: do we find or create ourselves? What do I want out of life, or what is my American dream? Do people get what they deserve? What does justice look like? And how will today affect tomorrow? Or is how is today built on the foundations of the past? So those are the themes that they'll be exploring. The standards that they'll be hitting are composition standards. These are KAS standards. They're not broken down on the slide. This is a general standard slide. They're going to be working on composition standards through their A2C summative essays and through their personalized standards assessments. They're going to be working on lit standards through our primary text and through some short fiction. And they'll be working on information standards through class inquiry text sets, including the debate that's starting our class off. See here, I've already hit on the problem statement. Their employability skills will be in a large part dependent on the choice-based pathing that they work on. So the central argument posed in the 1965 debate is that the American dream is at the expense of the American Negro. And they debate that really eloquently for about 50 minutes. And we're going to spend the first week and a half dissecting that while they work on their first standards assignment, which is a citation-based standard assignment. And I believe that is a relevant question today. So how do we accept or reject systems of oppression that we inherit from the past? Kind of to piggyback off of the question, is the American dream in the expense of Black people in America? So some sub-questions that are going to pop out of this are: how can we record our own search for truth in a polarized time? How can we as student advocates explore the American racial nadir as an untaught history and produce artifacts that deepen the understanding of our classmates and families? And how can we as student advocates recognize language that is designed to divide and polarize our country? So there are a couple different shorter term goals baked into this. I'm at 3 minutes, so I'm going to try and wrap this up in the next 2 minutes. The hook is the entry event is viewing that debate between James Baldwin and William Buckley, and hopefully having a couple of people come in and talk from U of L. The end product will be an audio novella with student permissions on one of those four topics. My assessment rubrics are given to me by JCTC for the essays. For the audio novella section, I've written my own rubric. My benchmarks are clearly outlined in this document that I'm not going to click through to here because I'm past 3 minutes, but I have the year planned to the week. My scaffolding that I'll need to do is I'm definitely going to need to work on teaching students how to recognize bias and validity in their media sources, because we're going to be doing a lot of citing. And I'm going to be teaching them how to co-write a rubric with me, because I believe in personalized learning, and helping students advocate for ways to assess their knowledge that align with their career goals and interests is part of my passion. The community partners I'm going to be engaged with, I'm at 4 minutes and 20 seconds, are Black Lives Matter movement leadership within Louisville, LMPD spokespersons, JCPS leadership, local community leaders, and U of L critical race scholars, Drs. Oja, Powell, and Owen. And my need to knows again are teaching bias, validity, teaching students how to write rubrics with me, and working on the critical lenses, which will be applying to the majority of our content. The protocols I plan to be using specifically are the affinity protocol and the forming ground rules protocol, but I'm planning on adding protocols as I learn more of them and find more that I enjoy using. This planning document contains a link to resources, the standards being met, and the specific degrees of agency and choice in each different standard. Again, this connects the PBL to the school district initiative on equity and anti-racist education, and as well as the new Black History curriculum being taught this year, because we will be focusing on informational texts that specifically educate my students about the American racial nadir, the time period between 1870 and 1920, which is known as the Gilded Age. If you are reading most history books, but is also the American racial nadir, the worst time in America for race relations, including prior to the Civil War, which kind of blows my mind. I did not know that much about it before I began researching. And I'm going to run that in juxtaposition with the Gilded Age content with Gatsby. And just to, again, super fast recap, I know I'm over my time. My driving question is, how do we accept or reject systems of oppression that we inherit from the past? My problem statement was, in the year 2020, America is reckoning with a divided interpretation of the American dream. There are two ways that we're looking at it. We either feed off oppressive structures, or it's a story of fighting oppression. My community partners are U of L professors, LMPD representatives, Louisville Black Lives Matter representatives, some JCPS reps who can speak perhaps to the school to prison pipeline, and U of L critical race scholars. My standards are literature, informational text, and composition standards. My entry event idea is a class discussion and a viewing of the debate between James Baldwin and William Buckley as a shibboleth and kind of an anchor for our discussion. And the project name is A Dream Still Deferred, because it's 2020 and it still is. Thank you for your patience, and thank you for watching this presentation. I hope you all have a really good afternoon, and that you get back to me at my email. It is john.brewer@jefferson.kyschools.us. I would love to hear any of your thoughts, and I would love to use any of the tools that you think would make this an even more effective project. Have a good afternoon.